Hi folks! In this video, I'm going to talk about the Life in the UK test. This test is required if you want to apply for UK Permanent Residency, also known as Indefinite Leave to Remain, or shortly ILR, or British Citizenship. The test has 24 questions, and you need to get at least 75% score to pass. That means you can make up to 6 mistakes. There is no time limit for when you can take the test. You can try as many times as you want, but once you pass, you're done. But you should pay for your each attempt. Its costs is £50 in early 2025. I studied by using mock tests. There are 17 mock tests with 24 questions each. Most of the questions repeat, so they're great for practice. In my real test, only one question was different from the mock tests. It asked which person is famous in motorsports. Luckily, I follow Formula One, so I knew the answer was Lewis Hamilton. Let's get started. But before we begin, please like the video and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, your comments are more than welcome. Now let's talk about human rights in the UK. This is an important topic for the Life in the UK test, and there are some key events you should know. First, let's talk about women's voting rights. In 1918, women in the UK who were over 30 years old got the right to vote and stand for Parliament. This was a big moment, and it happened partly because women helped a lot during World War I. Then, in 1928, the voting age for women was lowered to 21, the same as men. A very important person in this movement was Emmeline Pankhurst. She led a group called the Suffragettes. They fought strongly to get voting rights for women, and they were successful. Next, let's talk about slavery. In 1833, the Emancipation Act ended slavery across the British Empire. This was a major step for freedom and equality. Another big change came in education. In 1944, a law called the Butler Act made secondary school free in England and Wales. It was named after Richard Austin Butler, a politician who believed all children should have access to education, no matter their background. One older but very important law is the Habeas Corpus Act, passed in 1679. This law says that no one can be put in prison without a good reason. It gives everyone the right to go to court and challenge their arrest. The phrase habeas corpus is Latin. It means, you must present the person in court. And finally, the Factories Act of 1847 helped protect workers. It said that women and children could only work 10 hours a day. At the time, during the Industrial Revolution, many people had really long and hard working hours, so this law made a big difference. All these events show how the UK has worked to protect people's rights and freedoms over time. Now let's talk about democracy in the UK. The UK's democratic system didn't just appear overnight, it was shaped over many years by some really important events and documents. One of the first big moments was the Magna Carta, signed way back in 1215. This document was a game changer. It said that even the king had to follow the law. It also stopped the king from making new laws or collecting taxes without talking to his noblemen first. Basically, it was the start of the idea that leaders should not have unlimited power. Fast forward to 1689, and we get another big step forward, the Bill of Rights. This one confirmed the power of Parliament and made it clear that the monarch couldn't just do whatever they wanted. Here are a few key things the Bill of Rights changed. First, Parliament would decide all laws and taxes. The king or queen couldn't do it alone anymore. Second, the monarch had to be a Protestant. This rule was made to stop Catholic rulers from taking the throne. Third, no one could be sent to prison without a trial. That means people couldn't be locked up just because the king didn't like them. And finally, the king or queen couldn't keep an army in peacetime without Parliament's approval. This helped stop the monarchy from using force against the people. So, the Magna Carta and the Bill of Rights are two very important documents. They helped shape a system where power is shared and where the government has to follow rules, not just one person. These were big steps toward the kind of modern democracy we see in the UK today. Let's talk about some important British inventions and discoveries that changed the world. During the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries, Britain became a center of innovation. Machines got better, and steam power helped factories grow super fast. Now let's go over some key inventors and what they created. In the 1930s, Sir Frank Whittle invented the jet engine. This made modern air travel possible. In the 1920s, John Logie Baird from Scotland invented the television. That's how all our screens started. Around the same time, Sir Robert Watson Watt developed radar, which helps us track planes and ships. Super important in wars and airports today. Now let's talk science. Francis Crick helped discover the structure of DNA. That was a huge step for genetics. In 1968, Patrick Steptoe and Robert Edwards started working on IVF treatment. And in 1978, the first IVF baby, Louise Brown, was born. That changed so many lives. Going back in time. In 1687, Sir Isaac Newton published a book called Principia. In it, he explained the laws of physics and gravity. Yep, the reason apples fall. Let's move to tech. Sir Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web, the reason we have websites and can chat online today. Alan Turing, in the 1930s, created the idea of a Turing machine. That's the beginning of modern computers. Genius stuff. More breakthroughs. Ernest Rutherford was the first to split the atom. This led to nuclear energy, and sadly, also the atomic bomb. William Caxton brought the printing press to England. Before that, books were written by hand. And don't forget, Captain James Cook explored and mapped Australia, helping Britain start colonies there. And Britain and France worked together to build Concorde, the world's first and only supersonic passenger plane. So yeah, a lot of amazing inventions came from Britain. If you're studying for the test, try to remember who did what and when. These facts can definitely show up in your exam. Let's talk about some famous people from the UK who made a big difference in the world, in sports, science, health, and more. First up, Bobby Moore. He was the captain of the England football team when they won the World Cup in 1966. He's still remembered today as one of England's best football players ever. Then we have Mary Peters. She was born in Manchester, but she's strongly connected to Northern Ireland. She won a gold medal in the pentathlon at the 1972 Olympics. That's 5 events in one. Seriously impressive. Next, Sir Roger Bannister. In 1954, he became the first person to run a mile in under 4 minutes. Before that, people thought it wasn't even possible. He proved them wrong. How about a legend from the movies? Sir Charlie Chaplin was a huge star in silent films. He played the funny tramp character and became one of the most famous faces in early Hollywood. Now let's talk healthcare. Florence Nightingale changed nursing forever. During the Crimean War, she helped wounded soldiers and improved hospital conditions. That's why we call her the founder of modern nursing. From sports again, Ellie Simmonds is a Paralympic swimmer. She's won many gold medals and broken world records. She's also inspired people around the world with her strength and determination. And finally, Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Yes, big name, big impact. He was a brilliant engineer who helped build the Great Western Railway. Thanks to him, travel in Britain got faster and easier. These people all made history in different ways. Whether in sports, health, film, or engineering, they showed what's possible with talent, hard work, and big dreams. Let's take a look at British cinema, a world full of amazing actors, famous films, and unique animation. First, let's talk about some Oscar-winning British actors. Stars like Colin Firth, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Dame Judi Dench, Kate Winslet, and Tilda Swinton have all won Oscars for their outstanding acting. One actor who's been nominated but hasn't won yet is Emily Watson. Maybe one day. Now, when it comes to big movies, the UK has made some huge hits. Think about the Harry Potter and James Bond films. Both were made in Britain and became worldwide sensations. They've made billions at the box office and have fans all over the world. And we can't forget Wallace and Gromit. These lovable clay characters were created by Nick Park. Their fun adventures and clever stories have won several Oscars too. It just shows that British animation is full of talent and creativity. British cinema is not just about history. It's still going strong today, making powerful, exciting, and funny films that people everywhere enjoy. Patron saints and national flowers of the UK are important symbols reflecting the heritage and pride of each country. Starting with Scotland, the patron saint is St. Andrew. and his special day, St. Andrew's Day, is celebrated on the 30th of November. The national flower of Scotland is the thistle, a tough and beautiful plant that's become a proud Scottish symbol. For Northern Ireland, the patron saint is St. Patrick. His day, St. Patrick's Day, is on the 17th of March and is even a public holiday there. The shamrock, a three-leaf plant, is the national flower closely linked to St. Patrick and Irish identity. Next is Wales. The patron saint is St. David, and his feast day, St. David's Day, is celebrated on the 1st of March. The national flower of Wales is the daffodil, a bright yellow flower that blooms in early spring. And for England, the patron saint is St. George, who is believed to have come from the area of modern-day Turkey. St. George's Day is marked on the 23rd of April. The national flower of England is the rose, a symbol of love and strength. These saints and flowers aren't just historical. They're celebrated each year with parades, festivals, and national pride across the UK. Let's dive into the rich world of British literature, filled with iconic authors, timeless stories, and cultural landmarks. We begin with William Wordsworth, one of the greatest British poets. He is best known for his poem, The Daffodils, which captures the simple beauty of nature with the famous line, "I wandered lonely as a cloud." This poem remains one of the most loved in English literature. Next is J.R.R. Tolkien, author of the legendary fantasy trilogy, The Lord of the Rings. In 2003, it was voted Britain's best-loved novel. Tolkien's epic world of hobbits, elves, and battles between good and evil has had a huge influence on modern fantasy stories. Then we go back to the 14th century to Geoffrey Chaucer, who wrote the Canterbury Tales. This collection of stories is told by a group of pilgrims traveling to Canterbury, and it gives us a lively picture of medieval life. It's considered one of the most important works in English literature. Another literary giant is Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, creator of the world-famous detective Sherlock Holmes. With his sharp mind and iconic catchphrase, "Elementary, my dear Watson," Holmes has become a symbol of cleverness and deduction, inspiring countless adaptations in film and TV. Finally, let's not forget the Cenotaph, a national war memorial located in Whitehall, London. Designed by Sir Edwin Lutyens, it is the focus of the annual Remembrance Day service, where the king, politicians, and ambassadors gather to honor those who died in war. From poetry to fantasy, detective stories to historical tales, and from literature to memorials, Britain's cultural contributions continue to shape the world. Let's take a closer look at how justice works in the UK, especially through the jury system and the way courts handle different kinds of cases. First, let's talk about jury composition. In England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, a jury has 12 members. But in Scotland, things are a bit different. A jury is made up of 15 members, making it one of the few places in the world to use this system. Now, how are minor criminal cases handled? In England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, most minor cases go to a magistrate's court. These courts deal with things like traffic offenses or small thefts, and are usually overseen by a panel of magistrates or a district judge. In Scotland, the equivalent is the Justice of the Peace Court, where similar minor offenses are handled by lay justices, trained volunteers from the local community. What about cases involving young people? If someone aged 10 to 17 is accused of a crime in England, Wales, or Northern Ireland, the case is heard in a youth court. These courts are specially designed for younger defendants, with a more relaxed setting and up to 3 trained magistrates or a district judge. The goal is to ensure that young people are treated fairly and appropriately for their age. So, while the UK shares common principles of law, each country, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, has unique features in how it delivers justice. Let's dive into the rich and dramatic history of the British monarchy, a story filled with powerful figures and pivotal events. We begin with Henry VIII, one of the most iconic kings in British history. He was the father of Queen Elizabeth I, whose reign is often called the Golden Age. Elizabeth I is remembered for her intelligence, strength, and leadership during a time of great cultural and political change. After Elizabeth I died without an heir, the crown passed to her cousin, James VI of Scotland, who became James I of England, Wales, and Ireland. This was known as the Union of the Crowns, but keep in mind, Scotland remained a separate country. Now let's talk about Mary, Queen of Scots. Elizabeth's cousin and a controversial figure, Mary spent 20 years imprisoned in England, largely due to the political threat she posed to Elizabeth. Eventually, Mary was executed, accused of plotting against the Queen, a tragic end to a royal rivalry. Going further back, we meet William the Conqueror, the Duke of Normandy, in what is now northern France. In 1066, he defeated King Harold at the Battle of Hastings and became King of England. This event transformed English society and began a new chapter in British history, one shaped by Norman influence. These stories highlight the drama, power struggles, and legacies that define the British monarchy, a lineage that continues to shape the nation to this day. Let's explore the influential figures and milestones that have shaped the political landscape of the United Kingdom. At the center of British political power is 10 Downing Street, often called Number 10, or simply Westminster. This historic building in London has been the official residence of the Prime Minister since the 18th century. One of the most iconic prime ministers was Margaret Thatcher, the first woman to hold the office. Serving from 1979 to 1990, she became the longest-serving prime minister of the 20th century. Her leadership was known for bold economic reforms and a strong stance on national issues. During World War II, Winston Churchill emerged as a powerful symbol of hope and resilience. His speeches inspired a nation under siege. In 2002, he was voted the greatest Briton of all time. In the post-war era, Clement Attlee led a Labour government in 1945 that transformed the country. His government introduced the modern welfare state, including the National Health Service, NHS, and expanded social services for all. John Major, who followed Margaret Thatcher, played a key role in the Northern Ireland peace process. His efforts laid the groundwork for the Good Friday Agreement, bringing peace to a region long troubled by conflict. In 1997, Tony Blair became Prime Minister and led a modernized Labour Party. One of his major achievements was creating a Scottish Parliament and a Welsh Assembly, granting greater autonomy to Scotland and Wales. These leaders each left their mark on the UK, guiding the nation through wars, economic transformations, and major constitutional changes, shaping it into the democratic society we know today. Let's take a look at the structure and workings of the UK Parliament, a vital part of the country's democratic system. The UK Parliament is made up of two houses: the House of Commons, where members of Parliament, MPs, are elected by the public, and the House of Lords, where members are appointed, including life peers, individuals given titles for life by the monarch, on the advice of the Prime Minister. General elections are held at least every 5 years, and these elections decide which MPs will sit in the House of Commons, and ultimately, which party will form the government. While the central UK government controls key policy areas like defence, foreign affairs, immigration, taxation, and social security, other responsibilities, such as education and health, are managed by devolved administrations in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. In Wales, the Senedd, or Welsh Parliament, consists of 60 members elected every 4 years. In Northern Ireland, the Assembly has 90 members, known as MLAs, elected using proportional representation, ensuring a broader spectrum of views are represented. And across towns, cities, and rural areas, local governance is handled by democratically elected councils, known as local authorities, not by central government officials. These councils manage services such as schools, transport, and waste collection. Together, these bodies form a layered but interconnected system of government, from local councils to national parliaments, upholding the principles of representation, accountability, and democracy in the UK. The history of the United Kingdom is deeply intertwined with conflict, a series of wars and battles that have shaped its identity, borders, and influence across the globe. Let's begin in ancient times. The Roman invasions. In 55 BC, Julius Caesar led the first Roman invasion of Britain. Though unsuccessful, it laid the foundation for a successful invasion in AD 43 under Emperor Claudius. Over time, the Romans occupied most of Britain, influencing its roads, cities, governance, and culture, leaving a legacy that still echoes today. The Norman Conquest, 1066. 1,000 years later, in 1066, England saw its last successful foreign invasion, the Norman Conquest. William the Conqueror's victory at the Battle of Hastings brought about feudalism, a new nobility, and a linguistic fusion that evolved into modern English. The Hundred Years' War, 1337 to 1453. This century-long struggle between England and France was driven by dynastic claims and territorial ambition. Battles like Crécy and Agincourt became legendary, and figures like Joan of Arc inspired national resistance. Ultimately, France emerged strengthened, while England began looking inward. The defeat of the Spanish Armada, 1588, under Queen Elizabeth I, England repelled King Philip II of Spain's Armada, safeguarding the Protestant crown and establishing England's naval supremacy. Combined with ongoing threats from Catholic Europe, the victory marked England as a dominant force in the Atlantic. The Glorious Revolution, 1688, and Battle of the Boyne, 1690. When Protestant nobles invited William of Orange to replace the Catholic James II, it was a bloodless takeover, the Glorious Revolution. William's reign was secured by victory at the Battle of the Boyne, ensuring Protestant dominance in Ireland and constitutional monarchy in England. Battle of Trafalgar, 1805. As Napoleon's forces swept across Europe, Admiral Nelson led Britain to a decisive naval victory at Trafalgar. Though he died in battle, his triumph thwarted Napoleon's hopes of invading Britain. Defeat of Napoleon, 1815. A decade later, Britain, under the Duke of Wellington, defeated Napoleon for good at the Battle of Waterloo, helping restore balance in Europe after years of turmoil. Colonial conflicts, Crimean and Boer Wars. In the Crimean War, 1853 to 1856, Britain allied with France and the Ottoman Empire against Russia, a conflict known for its media coverage and harsh conditions. Then came the Boer War, 1899 to 1902, in South Africa, where Britain fought Dutch settlers over territory. Though victorious, the war exposed the fragility of colonial rule. World War I, 1914 to 1918, triggered by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the First World War devastated Europe. Britain played a key role in the Allied victory. The war ended on November 11, 1918, leaving behind unprecedented casualties, economic upheaval, and a restructured world order. World War II, 1939 to 1945. When Hitler invaded Poland, Britain again stood up. The Battle of Britain in 1940 was a turning point, where the Royal Air Force repelled German air attacks. During the Dunkirk evacuation, the courage of civilian volunteers helped rescue over 300,000 Allied troops, a moment symbolizing British resilience. In the war's aftermath, the United Nations was founded, a global body focused on peace, with Britain as a leading member. English Civil War, 1642 to 1651. The English Civil War was a defining conflict in British history, marked by a power struggle between the monarchy and Parliament. It reshaped the nation's political landscape and led to a brief period without royal rule. Divine right and rising tensions. King Charles I firmly believed in the divine right of kings, the idea that monarchs were appointed by God and accountable only to him. His attempts to rule without parliament and impose unpopular taxes sparked widespread discontent, leading to open conflict. Factions, Cavaliers versus Roundheads. The nation became divided between the Cavaliers, loyal to the king, and the Roundheads, who supported Parliament. What followed was a brutal civil war that tested loyalties across the country, key battles, and royal defeat. Parliamentary forces gained the upper hand with decisive victories at the Battle of Marston Moor, 1644, and the Battle of Naseby, 1645. Charles I was eventually captured, tried for treason, and executed in 1649, an unprecedented act that shocked Europe. The Commonwealth and Cromwell. Following the king's execution, England was declared a Commonwealth, effectively a republic. Under the leadership of Oliver Cromwell, the monarchy and House of Lords were abolished. Cromwell eventually assumed control as Lord Protector, ruling with significant authority. Charles II's flight and restoration. After his father's death, Charles II attempted to reclaim the throne, but was defeated by Cromwell at the Battle of Worcester, 1651. He famously hid in an oak tree before fleeing to exile in Europe. In 1660, following Cromwell's death and growing dissatisfaction with Republican rule, Parliament invited Charles II to return. He was restored as monarch in what became known as the Restoration, reclaiming the throne of England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. Domesday Book, 1086, commissioned by William the Conqueror, the Domesday Book remains one of the most remarkable documents in English history, offering a vivid snapshot of life in England following the Norman conquest of 1066. Creation and purpose. In 1085, William ordered a great survey to assess the wealth and resources of his kingdom. The goal was to determine how much tax could be levied and who held what land. Royal officials traveled across the country, gathering information on towns, villages, landholders, livestock, mills, and even plows. The results were compiled into 2 volumes, now known collectively as the Domesday Book. A window into medieval society. The survey offers unparalleled insight into the socio-economic structure of 11th century England. It reveals patterns of land ownership, wealth distribution, and agricultural practices, painting a picture of a society undergoing transformation under Norman rule. Historical significance. The Domesday Book stands as a cornerstone for medieval historians. Its detail and scope are unmatched by any similar record from the time. It provides clear evidence of the Norman administrative system, the consolidation of royal power, and the widespread changes brought by conquest. Enduring legacy. Over 900 years later, the Domesday Book remains a priceless historical resource, a testament to the reach of William's authority and a foundational text for the study of medieval England. It is often referred to as England's first great census and continues to inform our understanding of the post-conquest world. Rebels and resistance in British history. Rebellions and uprisings have long shaped the course of British history, serving as powerful expressions of discontent and resistance against prevailing authority. These moments often reflect deeper tensions surrounding power, loyalty, and national identity. Support for Bonnie Prince Charlie. One of the most iconic uprisings was the Jacobite Rebellion of 1745, led by Charles Edward Stuart, known as Bonnie Prince Charlie. Claiming the throne for the exiled Stuart dynasty, he rallied support from Highland clans in Scotland who remained loyal to his cause. The campaign nearly succeeded, but ended in defeat at the Battle of Culloden in 1746, bringing an end to the Jacobite hopes and ushering in harsh reprisals. The Massacre of Glencoe, 1692, a chilling episode of political betrayal, occurred in the Highlands of Scotland following the Glorious Revolution of 1688. The MacDonalds of Glencoe, a Highland clan, were massacred in 1692 for their delayed oath of allegiance to King William III. Though framed as a punishment for treason, the massacre has since become a symbol of government treachery and clan suffering, marking a tragic chapter in Scottish history. Legacy of resistance. These episodes reflect the tensions between central authority and regional loyalty, particularly in the Scottish Highlands. They continue to resonate in cultural memory, reminding us of the cost of rebellion and the enduring struggle over identity, sovereignty, and allegiance. The United Kingdom, a nation of nations. The United Kingdom, UK, is a sovereign state made up of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Each has its own unique identity, culture, and traditions, contributing to the UK's rich and diverse heritage. Crown dependencies and overseas territories. While closely linked to the UK, certain territories are not part of it. Crown dependencies, the Isle of Man and the Channel Islands, Jersey and Guernsey, are self-governing dependencies of the Crown. They have their own governments and legal systems, but rely on the UK for defence and international representation. Overseas territories. Regions such as St. Helena, the Falkland Islands, and Gibraltar are British overseas territories. These areas are under UK sovereignty but have varying degrees of self-government. Great Britain versus the United Kingdom. Great Britain refers to the island containing England, Scotland, and Wales. The United Kingdom includes Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The Union flag. The national flag of the UK is known as the Union flag, or more commonly, the Union Jack. It symbolizes the union of the nations that form the United Kingdom, incorporating elements of the flags of England, Scotland, and Ireland. Capital cities. Each nation within the UK has its own capital. England, London, also the UK's capital, Wales, Cardiff, Scotland, Edinburgh, Northern Ireland, Belfast. These cities are also centers of political power, with national assemblies or parliaments handling devolved matters like education and health. The Commonwealth. The UK is a founding member of the Commonwealth, an international association of over 50 nations. These countries, many of which were formerly part of the British Empire, work together to promote democracy, development, human rights, and cultural exchange. Language and the Norman Conquest. After the Norman Conquest of 1066, England underwent profound linguistic change. The ruling elite spoke Norman French, while the general population continued to use Old English, Anglo-Saxon. Over time, the languages blended, giving rise to Middle English, which eventually evolved into Modern English. This fusion of linguistic traditions forms the foundation of the English language as we know it today. These elements reflect the global influence, historical complexity, and cultural richness of the United Kingdom, a nation built on unity through diversity. The role of the Church in the United Kingdom religion has significantly influenced the history and culture of the United Kingdom. The Church, particularly in England and Scotland, has shaped the nation's political, social, and cultural landscape for centuries. Here are key points about the Church in the UK. Church of Scotland. Unlike England, Wales and Northern Ireland do not have an established church. However, Scotland has its own national church, the Church of Scotland, which follows a Presbyterian system of governance. This distinguishes Scotland from England, where the Church of England holds the position of the state church. The Reformation in Scotland. In 1560, the Scottish Parliament abolished the authority of the Pope in Scotland, marking the beginning of the Reformation in Scotland. This led to the establishment of the Church of Scotland, which, unlike the Church of England, was not established by the state and did not recognize the monarch as its head. The establishment of the Church of England. In 1534, Henry VIII established the Church of England, after the Pope refused to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. This marked a crucial moment in English religious history, as the king took control of the church in England, breaking away from the Catholic Church. Anne Boleyn and the execution. Anne Boleyn, Henry VIII's second wife, was executed at the Tower of London in 1536 after being accused of infidelity and treason. Her execution played a significant role in the religious upheaval of the time, influencing the political and religious dynamics of the English Reformation. The Reformation. The Reformation was a movement that opposed the authority of the Pope and the doctrines of the Catholic Church. Under Henry VIII's reign, the English Reformation led to the creation of a separate Church of England, marking a permanent split from the Catholic Church. The monarch's role in the Church. The monarch serves as the supreme governor of the Church of England, playing a vital role in its governance. This gives the monarch significant influence over religious matters within England. Religious affiliations. Mary, Queen of Scots versus Elizabeth. Mary, Queen of Scots, was a devout Catholic, while her cousin, Elizabeth I, was a Protestant. Elizabeth I is known for her efforts to balance the views of Catholics and Protestants during her reign, attempting to ease religious tensions and maintain stability in England. The King James Bible. In 1604, King James I commissioned a new English translation of the Bible, known as the Authorized Version or the King James Version. This translation had a profound influence on the development of the English language and Christian theology. Huguenot refugees. Between 1680 and 1720, many Huguenot refugees fled France to seek religious freedom in England. These Protestant refugees from France sought sanctuary in England, contributing to the cultural and religious diversity of the UK. Puritan religion. The Puritans were a group of Protestant reformers who sought to purify the Church of England of remaining Catholic practices. They advocated for strict religious doctrine and simplified worship, influencing religious and political movements in England, especially during the English Civil War. Spiritual leader of the Church of England. The Archbishop of Canterbury serves as the spiritual leader of the Church of England, overseeing its religious activities and doctrine. First Archbishop of Canterbury St. Augustine became the first Archbishop of Canterbury in 597 AD, when he was sent by Pope Gregory I to spread Christianity in southern England. His missionary work helped establish the foundations of the Christian Church in England. These events reflect the significant influence of religious movements and institutions on the formation of the United Kingdom. From the Reformation to the establishment of the Church of England, the nation's religious history has had a lasting impact on its governance, culture, and identity. Religious days in the United Kingdom. The UK has a wide variety of religious and cultural celebrations throughout the year. These holidays are a chance for people to come together, share traditions, and reflect on different aspects of life. Here are some of the key religious days celebrated. Christmas Day. When? 25th December. What it celebrates. Christmas marks the birth of Jesus Christ and is one of the biggest holidays in the UK. Families gather, exchange gifts, and celebrate the festive season with meals and decorations. Easter. When? March or April. The date changes each year. What it celebrates. Easter celebrates the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Leading up to Easter, there's a period called Lent, where Christians spend 40 days in reflection, fasting, and prayer. Easter Sunday is a day of joy, symbolizing renewal and hope. Good Friday. When? The Friday before Easter. What it celebrates. Good Friday is a solemn day that commemorates the crucifixion and death of Jesus Christ. It's a time for quiet reflection and remembrance of the sacrifices made. Halloween. When 31st October. What it celebrates. Halloween is all about fun and spookiness, with people dressing up in costumes, going trick-or-treating, and decorating their homes. While it has ancient roots, today it's mostly a fun, lighthearted celebration for both kids and adults. Boxing Day. When? 26th December. What it celebrates. Boxing Day is a public holiday in the UK, traditionally a day to give gifts to those in need, like servants or the poor. Today, it's a day for shopping, sports, and spending time with family. Auld Lang Syne. When 31st December, New Year's Eve. What it celebrates. As the old year comes to an end, people sing Auld Lang Syne to bid farewell to the past year and welcome the new one. It's especially popular in Scotland, where it's part of Hogmanay celebrations. Hogmanay when? 31st December, New Year's Eve. What it celebrates. Hogmanay is the Scottish celebration of New Year's Eve, filled with fireworks, dancing, and special traditions like the first footing, where the first person to enter your house after midnight brings good luck. Diwali. When? Usually in October or November. What it celebrates. Diwali, the festival of lights, is celebrated by Hindus, Sikhs, and Jains. It marks the victory of light over darkness and good over evil. People light candles, decorate their homes, and share sweets with family and friends. Eid al-Fitr. When? The date changes depending on the Islamic lunar calendar. It is also called Ramadan Bayram in Western Europe countries. What it celebrates. Eid al-Fitr celebrates the end of Ramadan, a month of fasting for Muslims. The day begins with a special prayer, followed by family gatherings and feasting. It's a time of giving, with charity and gifts for loved ones. These holidays reflect the rich diversity and blend of religious and cultural traditions that make up life in the UK. Whether solemn or joyful, each celebration brings people together and strengthens the sense of community. America's connection to Britain. The relationship between Britain and its American colonies was central to shaping both nations' histories. Here are some key moments and events that define this relationship. Taxation, grievances. One of the main reasons the American colonies sought independence from Britain was because of taxation without representation. The British government imposed taxes on the colonies, but the colonies had no voice in Parliament, which led to widespread resentment. This sparked a demand for more autonomy and eventually the desire for independence. Declaration of Independence. In 1776, the 13 American colonies officially declared their independence from Britain. This was largely because of the taxation issues and the idea of no taxation without representation. The Declaration of Independence marked the start of the American Revolutionary War and the formation of the United States of America as a new, independent nation. Colonization in Elizabeth I's era. During Queen Elizabeth I's reign in the late 1500s, English settlers began establishing colonies along the eastern coast of America. This marked the beginning of permanent settlements that would later grow into the foundation of British influence in the New World. These early settlements laid the groundwork for the future expansion of Britain's influence in America. These moments show how the relationship between Britain and America evolved, leading to significant events that shaped both countries and had a lasting impact on global history. Troubles in Britain and Ireland. Throughout history, Britain and Ireland have faced several significant challenges and disasters that tested their resilience. Some of the most notable troubles include the Black Death, 1348. In 1348, the Black Death, likely a form of the plague, ravaged Britain, causing catastrophic losses. Around one-third of the population in England, Scotland, and Wales died from the disease, resulting in widespread devastation. This tragedy had a profound effect on communities and society as a whole, drastically changing the course of history. Impact of the Black Death. The impact of the Black Death was immense. Beyond the staggering loss of life, the plague disrupted everyday life and the economy across Britain. It led to labor shortages, changed social structures, and caused deep societal upheaval. The repercussions of this event were felt for generations. Famine in Ireland, 19th century. In the mid-19th century, Ireland suffered through a horrific famine due to the failure of the potato crop, which was the main food source for many. Around 1 million people died from disease and starvation, and many others were left in dire circumstances. This famine exposed the weaknesses in Ireland's agricultural economy and had lasting social and political consequences, deeply affecting the country for years to come. These events highlight some of the most difficult times in British and Irish history, showing how societies were forced to confront devastating crises and adapt to new realities. Sports in the United Kingdom. Sports are an integral part of the cultural life in the UK, with iconic events and competitions that captivate the nation year-round. Here are some of the highlights. The Grand National, held annually at Aintree, near Liverpool. The Grand National is one of the most prestigious horse races in the world. Known for its challenging course and thrilling atmosphere, it attracts a large audience and is a key event in the UK sporting calendar. The Ashes. The Ashes is a historic cricket competition between England and Australia. This series of test matches has a rich history and is one of the most eagerly anticipated events in cricket, drawing passionate supporters from both nations. Famous horse racing events. In addition to the Grand National, the Royal Ascot and the Scottish Grand National at Ayr are among the UK's most famous horse racing events. These competitions bring together top horses, jockeys, and massive crowds, showcasing the best of the sport. Wimbledon Championships. Wimbledon, held annually at the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club, is the most prestigious tennis tournament in the UK. Known for its tradition, elegance, and high-level competition, it is one of the 4 Grand Slam tennis tournaments and a highlight of the British sporting year. Olympic Games. The UK has had the honor of hosting the Olympic Games 3 times, in 1908, 1948, and 2012. These events have seen athletes from around the world come together to compete, promoting sportsmanship, unity, and international camaraderie. Six Nations Championship. The Six Nations Championship is the top rugby union competition in the Northern Hemisphere. Teams from England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, France, and Italy compete in a series of high-stakes matches, fueled by intense rivalries and passionate fan support. These sporting events reflect the UK's deep love for competition, tradition, and sportsmanship, providing unforgettable moments for fans and athletes alike. Local food and events in the UK. The United Kingdom offers a rich and diverse range of culinary traditions, paired with exciting cultural events. Here are a few highlights. Haggis, a traditional Scottish dish. Haggis is known for its bold flavors and hearty ingredients. It's made from minced meat, usually lamb, oats, and a blend of spices, traditionally encased in a sheep's stomach. It's typically served with neeps, turnips, and tatties, potatoes, making for a filling and flavorful meal. Edinburgh Fringe Festival. The Edinburgh Festival is one of the most famous cultural events in the world, held annually during the summer in Edinburgh, Scotland. The festival includes various arts and cultural events, but the Edinburgh Festival Fringe stands out as the largest and most well-known. It offers an incredible range of performances, from theater and comedy to music, dance, and spoken word, drawing artists and audiences from across the globe. Ulster Fry. A Ulster Fry is a classic Northern Irish breakfast that's as hearty as it is satisfying. It typically includes fried eggs, bacon, sausages, black pudding, white pudding, potato bread, soda bread, and often tomatoes or mushrooms. It's a deliciously filling way to start the day, and a must-try for anyone visiting Northern Ireland. These local dishes and events are a window into the rich traditions and culture of the UK, inviting both locals and visitors to indulge in the country's distinctive flavors and festivities. In conclusion, the journey through the Life in the UK test not only serves as a means of understanding the laws and customs of the nation, but also emphasizes the profound connection between individuals and the collective history of the United Kingdom. It highlights how citizenship is not just about rights and responsibilities, but about embracing the shared values that have shaped this diverse and resilient society. From the historic struggles for equality to the strength shown in the face of adversity, the essence of British identity is rooted in a commitment to democracy, justice, and unity. As we look ahead, let us continue to honor and uphold these ideals, fostering a sense of community and inclusivity. By doing so, we ensure that the spirit of citizenship endures, helping to create a future where mutual respect and collaboration form the foundation of a thriving, harmonious society for generations to come.